So you've got this awesome UTV, right? You love tearing up the trails. But wouldn't it be amazing to just drive it into town for supplies instead of the whole hassle of loading it back onto the trailer? That's the dream. But it usually smacks right into a brick wall of laws and regulations. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how you might be able to take your UTV from the trail to the street.
And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The one that lights up all the online forums. Can you actually, legally, drive your side-by-side on a paved public road? Well, the answer is kind of complicated. It's not a simple yes or no, but as you're about to see, it is absolutely possible.
Look, the short answer is yes. You can do this in a surprising number of places. But, and this is a huge but, to get there, you have to navigate this maze of state laws, equipment requirements, and one super important catch that can stop you dead in your tracks, even if you do everything else perfectly. So, let's get into it.
Okay, to really wrap your head around the legal landscape, it helps to think of the U.S. in 3 basic tiers. Honestly, this is the quickest way to figure out where your state might fall on the map.
Just think of it like a traffic light. About 40% of states, so around 20 of them, are green light. This is where getting a license plate is pretty straightforward. Then you have the majority, literally half the country, that are yellow light. This means, yeah, you can drive on the street, but there are some serious strings attached. And then a small handful are red light states, where it's next to impossible. The real shocker here is just how many states are in that limited yellow light zone.
Let's make this a little more real. A green light state like Montana, it's pretty much wide open. You get your plate and you're good to go. But then a yellow light state like North Carolina says sure, but only on roads where the speed limit is 35 miles per hour or less. And then you've got a red light state like California, where it's a hard no unless you're using it for something very specific, like farming. It really shows you how different things can be just by crossing a state line.
Okay, seriously, lean in for this one. If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, make it this. This is what I call the golden rule of making your UTV street legal, and I'm telling you, ignoring it is the #1 mistake people make. So here it is, the big secret. Local rules beat state rules. Every single time. Just because your state is a green light state, that does not guarantee your specific town or county lets UTVs on their roads. A local city council can outlaw them completely, even if the state gives you a big thumbs up.
I mean, this slide says it all, right? The state can give you a giant yes, but if your local county or city government says no, their no wins. That's why your very first call shouldn't be to the state DMV, it should be to your local city hall or sheriff's office.
So, let's assume you've checked your local laws and you're good to go. What do you actually have to bolt onto your machine to make it legal? Well, most states have a core list of required gear. We'll just call it the Big 7. All right, here's your rundown. You're going to need a horn that people can actually hear. You need mirrors, one for the rear and one for each side. A full turn signal kit, front and back. Of course, you need working brake lights, tail lights, and headlights. And to finish it off, a lighted license plate bracket and a proper windshield. And nope, your riding goggles don't count. This is basically your essential shopping list.
Okay, you've got the legal roadmap, you've got your equipment checklist. Now let's talk about the thing everybody wants to know. What's this actually going to cost me? Let's break down the budget.
On average, you should probably plan on spending about $1,800. That'll get you all the basic parts and cover the necessary fees. Think of that as a really solid starting point if you're doing the conversion yourself.
But of course, average doesn't tell the whole story. The actual range can be anywhere from about $1,100 on the low end to over $2,700 on the high end. So why the huge swing? It usually comes down to 2 big-ticket items, the kind of windshield you get and whether your state makes you buy street-rated DOT tires. This table really shows you where the money goes. A turn signal kit? That's a few $100. A good glass windshield could run you up to $700. But man, look at the tires. If your state requires them, that can tack on another $600 to $1,200 to your build, all by itself. And hey, don't forget to budget a little extra for all those administrative fees for your title, plates, and maybe an inspection.
All right, we have covered the laws, the gear, and the cost. So let's boil it all down into a final actionable checklist that you can use before you spend a single dime or turn a single wrench.
Here's your game plan. Step 1. Figure out if you're in a green, yellow, or red light state. Step 2. Go down that Big 7 list and install all the required equipment. Step 3. Make a budget, not just for the parts, but for ongoing insurance too. And finally, I'm going to say it one more time because it's that important. The most critical step.
call your local authorities and confirm the rules for your town before you even think about hitting the pavement.
So, the journey to getting a street-legal UTV is totally achievable for a lot of owners, but it all boils down to one question you have to answer first. Your state might have given you the green light, but has your town? Find that out and you'll be well on your way.